Have you ever found a famous or infamous criminal in your family while researching? Well, I got a great find to share with you today. If you've also found a famous criminal in your family, please leave the details in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Now, I have found a few in my family so far, such as this guy who is fictionalized in a TV series, Boardwalk Empire. But that's going to be in another video. I'm talking today about a lieutenant with the Morello gang, referred to back then, 100-something years ago, as the Black Hand. He was a suspect in several barrel murders, kidnappings, and counterfeiting. His name is Vito Lo Duca. I know, Vito Lo Duca. Can you get a more Sicilian, mafioso-sounding name? But I'm going to get into the known details about Vito in just a moment. But the Black Hand, or mano negra, was mentioned in the Godfather 2. This is what later became known, of course, as the mafia or the cosa nostra. Now, the Morello gang was led by Giuseppe Morello, who immigrated from, of all places, Corleone, Sicily, to New York City in 1892 and quickly made a name for himself in organized crime. He eventually leading a very large crime family that fought in the Castellammarese War in 1830 to 1931 there in New York City. He was together with Joe the Boss Masseria, and they were fighting against their top rival, Salvador Maranzano. Maranzano, another common name in my family. Morello was killed in 1930, and after Joe the Boss was murdered by Lucky Luciano's crew in 1831, the Morello gang was taken over by Lucky Luciano and was Luciano family. But this eventually became known as the Gambino crime family when Don Carlo Gambino took control of the family in 1959 when Vito Genovese was sent to prison. Now, I found Vito Lo Duca, who is not on my tree yet. I had a lot of Lo Ducas, but I had not had this particular Vito on there. But I was looking for someone else. I was looking for someone who, on an Ellis Island record, and I can't remember which one it was, but this one we're looking at now is very similar to that. And so I was looking for a family member who had immigrated, and I noticed that, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to trace down to their to their living relatives. So I noticed on this particular document, like this has 5 people going to see Vito Lo Duca. Now, I know it's his wife and it's his kids, but there are 2 people here at the bottom of Vito Catone, and so he and another one are also going to see Vito Lo Duca. So I'm thinking, again, at this point, I don't know who this guy is, but it seems there's something going on when you got somebody. Now, maybe he's a sponsor. I don't know. But 10 people all going to see Vito Lo Duca. I had to look into this. So I found the information on him, connected him to my tree. What really got me going was, of course, Lo Duca, like I've mentioned before. My second great-grandmother is Ninfa Lo Duca. So I have other family going to see him, so he's probably related. And it turns out he is related, and he is a sixth cugino to mio bisnonno, Pietro Randazzo. And, of course, he is related to Pietro's wife, my great-grandmother, Ninfa Pecoraro, because her grandmother is Ninfa Lo Duca. But it was a Google search that led me to his criminal activities and involvement with the Morello gang, which, as mentioned, is now the Gambino crime family. Yeah, that family. And I'll be doing a separate video on Don Carlos, so make sure you sub to Epic Genealogy so you'll know when that is uploaded. Now, there are only a few pictures available, which is no surprise since he was a pretty high-ranking member of a pretty infamous criminal organization. Well, let me take a moment. Please like the video and leave a comment. So while there are many pictures of Vito Lo Duca, gangrule.com does have a few pictures and some details about him. Now, I did find some newspaper reports about him. He was a suspect, like I mentioned, in some barrel murders. And this, if you're familiar with Breaking Bad and shows like The Ozarks, you'll have a good idea what a barrel murder is. That's when someone is killed and their body is disposed of in a barrel. Now, he was also involved in several kidnappings, most notably, especially for me, this is what got my attention. He was also involved in several kidnappings, most notably, especially for me, of a boy named Antonio Menino. Now, Menino is a very prominent name in Carini, Sicily, and also very prominent in my family. So as you see here, I've got almost 1,300 Meninos on my family tree. And when you read about this kidnapping, it happened in Brooklyn by Columbia and Atlantic Avenue, which is where many of my family from Carini and others from Carini, Sicilia, that immigrated to. And that's where my family actually lived. Mio bisnonno, Pietro Randazzo, initially lived at 238 Columbia Street in Brooklyn when he immigrated in 1906. Lots of Carini, Sicilia immigrants stayed at 238 Columbia Street. I'll do another video just on that. What's really interesting here is Pietro stayed with his cugino, Stefano Manino. Huh? I'll be doing another video about actually trying to connect them, but that's, I'm not saying that they're connected because I don't know. I don't know if this Antonio Manino, who lived by Columbia and Atlantic Avenue, also was related to Stefano Manino, who was at 238 Columbia Street, because Menino, of course, is such a common name. It's one of the top 5 most common names in the Palermo area. But we'll see. There's also another suspect whose name is Cucuzza, which is also a very prominent name in Carini and in my family. And I already did a video where I talk about the Cucuzza family being very close to my Gargaiano family, and that they moved together from Mistretta Messina to Carini, Palermo in about 1709. Again, I don't know yet if the Menino and Cucuzzas are also from Carini, but if so, I'll post an update. And if they are from Carini, there's a damn good chance that they are related to my family. Now, what I do have on Vito Lo Duca, as far as documentation, I have his 1868 baptism record. His parents are Antonino and Geronima Schiarino. His godparents, very interesting, they're Cusimanos, which I know is a very common name in Palermo area. But I do have a second great-grandmother, Caterina Cusimano. I also have Vito Lo Duca's 1888 Carini marriage record, and he married Anna Pasolacca, who is also a sixth cugina to mio bisnonno, Pietro Randazzo. Pretty interesting, though, kind of gory detail, I guess, is Vito was a butcher by trade. So I guess he was kind of a natural for these barrel murders. Now, apparently, Vito got on the wrong side of somebody there, which is not too uncommon when you're in the game, as Mike Ehrmantraut would put it.
He wasn't in the game.
But what I knew initially was that from gangrel.com that he was murdered back when he traveled back to Carini in 1908. Now, I did make contact with one of his great-grandchildren, and I have a couple more details. That he was shot in the chest, and it was while he was leaving a cinema. He had watched a movie, and hopefully it was a good movie because it was his last one. But that's where he met his demise at the hand of, he met his demise at the hands of the Black Hand, more than likely. Another member of the Black Hand. Now, another interesting fact here, when we look at the Morello gang, is that there's a Pecoraro who is a member. And there's even less information about this guy. And the thing is, my great-grandmother is Ninfa Pecoraro. She's related to Vito Lo Duca because her grandmother is Ninfa Lo Duca. And here we've got a Pecoraro. So what's the chance that we got a Pecoraro and a Lo Duca in the same gang, and we know one of them for sure is from Carini, which is Vito. So there's a good chance that it might be a Pecoraro that's related to me. Again, I know Pecoraro is a really common name in Palermo, but it's possible. They both landed up in the same gang? I'll find out, and I'll post an update when I do. So let me know if you've found any famous criminals in your family tree and post them in the details and give the video a like. And as always, thanks for watching.